Hello everybody! If you want to read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short Story 673, The Great Sock Heist. Upper Beginner. John had always been annoyed by missing socks in his house. He would wash a load and somehow one sock would disappear. He thought it was strange, but he couldn't figure out who or what was taking them. One night, John decided to set a trap. He put a single sock in the washing machine and waited. The next morning, he checked the machine, and the sock was gone. But then he heard a strange noise coming from the living room. John crept into the room and found his mischievous cat, Mr. Whiskers, surrounded by a pile of socks. Mr. Whiskers looked up, a guilty glint in his eye, with a sock dangling from his mouth. It turned out that Mr. Whiskers loved socks. He loved the softness, the stretchiness, and the way they smelled like his owner's feet. John couldn't stay mad. He laughed and decided to let Mr. Whiskers keep his sock collection. From then on, whenever John did laundry, he would set aside a few socks for Mr. Whiskers. And Mr. Whiskers would sit proudly, surrounded by his beloved socks, knowing he was the true master of the house. Vocabulary notes. Annoyed. Adjective. Example. John had always been annoyed by missing socks in his house. Meaning. Feeling irritated or frustrated. Similar words. Irritated, frustrated, vexed. Example sentence. I'm annoyed with my noisy neighbours. They're always playing loud music. Mischievous. Adjective. Example. John found his mischievous cat, Mr. Whiskers, surrounded by a pile of socks. Meaning. Behaving in a playful but slightly naughty way. Similar words. Playful. Cheeky. Troublesome. Example sentence. The mischievous child hid her sister's phone and then pretended he didn't know where it was. Guilty. Adjective. Example. Mr. Whiskers looked up, a guilty glint in his eye, with a sock dangling from his mouth. Meaning. Feeling responsible for something wrong. Similar words. Ashamed. Remorseful. Sheepish. Example sentence. After getting caught cheating, the student looked guilty and apologized to the teacher. Dangle. Verb. Example. Mr. Whiskers looked up, a guilty glint in his eye, with a sock dangling from his mouth. Meaning. To hang or swing loosely. Similar words. Swing. Hang. Droop. Example sentence. The keys were dangling from the hook, waiting to be taken. Master. Noun. Example. Mr. Whiskers would sit proudly, surrounded by his beloved socks, knowing he was the true master of the house. Meaning. A person or animal in control. Similar words. Owner. Ruler. Boss. Example sentence. The dog looked up at its master, waiting for a treat. Story written by Meta AI. Image created by onemin.ai. To read all the story's content in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. CC Music, drifting at 432 Hz, Unicorn Heads.
Have you ever wondered why some things just stick in your brain? Today, we're going to crack a charming little mystery about a sock thief. But more importantly, we're going to see how this super simple story is secretly an amazing tool for learning without ever feeling like a lesson.
You know the feeling, right? Where did that pen go? The TV remote has vanished into another dimension, and of course, the most classic household mystery of all, the lonely single sock. These little puzzles happen to all of us, and that feeling of, again, is exactly where our story kicks off.
So, our story starts with this nagging problem, a problem that seems almost magical. It's a tiny whodunit playing out right in the laundry room. The case of the vanishing socks.
Okay, so meet John, And John, like a lot of us, is dealing with this classic laundry dilemma. A pair of socks goes in, but only one comes back out. It's happening over and over, and you can just feel his frustration building. He has no idea who or what is behind it.
And this line right here, this is everything. It sets the whole mood. He isn't just a little puzzled, he's annoyed. That specific feeling of irritation is what pushes him to finally say, "Okay, that's it, I'm figuring this out." Hang on to that word, annoyed. So John has had enough. He's done being a victim of the sock monster. He switches gears from frustrated homeowner to full-on detective. It is time to set a trap for this sneaky thief. And you gotta love his plan. It's so simple, it's brilliant, right? He puts a single sock in as bait. Then he just waits for a clue, a strange noise. It's a really smart, step-by-step way to solve this little household crime. And it works! The next morning, John checks the laundry. And just like he thought, the bait is gone. But this time is different. This time, he has a lead, a noise from the living room. The chase is on, and we're about to meet our villain.
Okay, this is the moment of truth. John sneaks into the living room, ready to finally confront the sock thief and unmask the culprit behind this whole operation.
He peeks around the corner, and there, surrounded by all the evidence, is the mastermind he's been searching for this whole time.
Of course, it had to be. It's his own cat, Mr. Whiskers, just sitting there in what looks like a dragon's hoard of stolen socks. The mystery is solved, and the bad guy is way cuter than John ever expected.
And really, in the end, how can you even be mad? The whole thing is just absurdly funny. John just laughs, and from then on, he even agrees to set aside a few sacrificial socks for the little guy.
So it's a really cute ending to a funny mystery, but this story is doing way more than just being charming. It's actually a masterclass in how our brains learn. It's been built to teach us new words without us even noticing. So now let's decode this heist and see how it really works. Let's go back to that word I told you to remember, annoyed. Okay, so the dictionary says it's feeling irritated or frustrated. And that's fine, that's just a fact. But the story does something way smarter than just giving us a definition. It gives us a feeling. By putting us right there with John, dealing with those disappearing socks again and again, we don't just read the word annoyed, we actually feel it. Our brain connects the word to that emotion, and that makes it stick. Next up, the story gives us the perfect words to describe our little thief. Mischievous. You know, that special kind of playful but slightly naughty behavior. Something I think all cat owners know very well.
And see, the story doesn't just say the cat is mischievous, it shows us. We see him with his giant pile of stolen socks. He wasn't trying to be evil, he was just being, well, a cat. Playful, naughty. His actions are the definition, painted like a perfect picture in our heads.
Now think about that moment he gets caught. The story uses the word guilty. It's that feeling of knowing you did something wrong. That classic busted look on your face. And here's the brilliant part. The story shows us what guilty looks like. That guilty glint in the cat's eye, that's such a powerful image. You can picture that look perfectly, right? And just like that, the word is locked into your memory. The story even teaches us great action words like dangle. The definition is simple, to hang or swing loosely. But again, it's not the definition that does the heavy lifting. It's the mental image. You can see that right now, can't you? That sock just hanging there, swinging from the cat's mouth. It's such a specific and kind of ridiculous image that it makes the meaning of dangle totally unforgettable. That is the magic of learning in context. So let's just step back and look at the whole thing. This one little story gave us a whole vocabulary lesson. We learned annoyed is like being frustrated. We saw how mischievous is like being cheeky. We pictured how guilty feels like being ashamed. And we connected dangle to the action of hang. Every single word is tied to a feeling, a character, or a picture. That's what makes it so incredibly effective.
And all of this brings us to our final word, and really the big idea of this whole explainer, mastery
and the incredible power of learning through stories.
The story ends with Mr. Whiskers as the true master. And yeah, he got what he wanted. He's the master of the socks. But in a way, that's a metaphor for us, the audience. By going through the story with him, we become the masters of this new vocabulary. The story gave us control over these new words.
So, what's the big takeaway from the Great Sock Heist? It's this. Facts tell us things, but stories teach us things. Our brains are literally wired to remember stories. Stories full of emotion, context, and images we can see in our heads. So the next time you have to learn something complicated, don't just search for facts. Ask yourself, what's the story here? Because finding that story might just be the difference between forgetting something and truly understanding it.